Today we are joined by guitarist Phil Demmel, who is, man, what an illustrious career. Violence, Machine Head. He's currently part of the new Kerry King band. They've got an album coming out May 17th. The album is called From Hell I Rise. We talk about that. And
he's a go-to.
Yeah, he's a go-to. He's
Lamb of God Slayer, Lamb of God Slayer. I mean, you say that, you're like, holy shit. He's part of the whole Bay Area thrash movement, violence and all. Oh my God. You know, all over the fucking place. Testament.
He's filled in for everybody at one time or another. And one of the questions we didn't get to, I was going to ask him, out of all the bands that he's filled in for, which one would he have been the most comfortable becoming a permanent member of?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, and we didn't get around to that. Phil had some things to do today, obviously a busy man. We wanted to respect that, but we did get about an hour and 15 minutes with him. He's a great guy, so much fun to talk to, and obviously a lot of ground to cover. What a great career he's had.
So you and I have been blessed to have been able to press play on the new Kerry King record.
Yes.
And to hear Phil's solos intertwine harmonically with Kerry's solos is reminiscent of, you know, the way KK Downing and Glenn Tipton would go back and forth, and, you know, Sinner and stuff like that. And of course, like Slayer, because I think Judas Priest is kind of that model is where Slayer, if I may be as bold to say.
I think they would even admit that.
Yeah, they would even admit that, right. A lot of people don't realize that, though. You bring that up to hardcore Slayer fans, and some of them go, I don't get it. And it's like, if you don't get it, you're not listening to the musicality of what Judas Priest has and then what Slayer has, because the model is close, man.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent.
Yeah, I think so, too. Anyway, that's happening, because I feel like that is what, and listen to this interview, watch this interview, because we got an affirmation from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So just the way that Kerry has put this project together is no different. It's the way that he bakes a cake.
Yeah.
We'll know what that means in a minute.
Yeah. Great band. Mark from Death Angel on vocals.
Sounds amazing.
Paul Bostoff on drums. Incredible. Phil, of course. Kerry, of course. And then Kyle from Hell Yeah is on bass.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in Blood Simple. I think I have a Blood Simple record.
Was it Blood Simple? Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Blood
he
Simple,
did say that. Yeah.
I met the drummer a few times from Blood Simple.
So he's got you know, this is a great band. It's a great record, as we discuss in the show. And as Kerry has said in the press, if you are a fan of Slayer, you're going to find plenty to like here. It sounds very much like a Slayer record in a lot of places, which is not unexpected. And so Kerry has said he wasn't done when Slayer decided to call it quits. And I think this is an obvious extension of where he would have continued going with Slayer. He just put some different dudes together and kept going. So I think people are going to really enjoy this, all of you Slayer fans out there.
Yeah, I'm digging the record. I think Idle Hands, the single when that came out, and I you know, got my hands around it and got my ears around it. I didn't know what to feel or think, because, you know, everybody just wants Slayer to continue, but, you know, life is not like that. It's not there to be there the way you want it all the time. And we get into that a little bit in this episode. But it's growing on me fast. And there's you can't judge the record by the one song. You just can't.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like the one song, the single, Idle Hands, maybe, I mean, I've only heard the record a few times, and I'll listen to it many more, but I might argue that it is the most Slayer-like song on the record. And the other songs are thrashy, and they've got a Slayer vibe, but Idle Hands, I think, is the closest thing to sounding almost exactly like Slayer on the record. And then the other songs have a bit of nuance that's maybe, You hear the Slayer in there, but it's not as apparent all the way through the song. But it's early, right? We just got the record
that's right.
recently.
I'm coming at it with a different head, totally different head. I'm going in knowing that this is not Slayer. So even when I hear it sounding even a little bit like Slayer, and even we realized today from this conversation with Phil Demmel why Mark might be sounding a little bit like Tom in some places. We found out why. So if you listen to this episode or watch this episode, you'll find out tons of information that might just be missing here today. Phil Demmel on the Talk Louder podcast.